Good afternoon. It is warm outside and y'all are just so talkative. Good morning. Good afternoon. Y'all gonna join the meeting today? Good afternoon. Hallway. Class is in session. Oh, it is. Good afternoon. I call this meeting of the Board of Parks and Recreation to order. I'm Michelle Cummings Steele, Chair of the Board of Parks and Recreation. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll move now to the appeal of decisions pursuant to the provisions of 2.68.030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws. Please take notice that decisions of the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davidson County for review under a common law writ of certiorari. Any appeal must be filed within 60 days after entry of a final decision by the board. Any person or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney to ensure that time and procedural requirements are met. Consideration of the minutes. Have you all had an opportunity to read the minutes of our April meeting? Is there any discussion? Is there a motion for approval?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? We'll move now to Metro Council referrals. Are there any referrals from the council members present? Director Odom.
No, ma'am, none present.
Thank you so much. We'll move now to old business 04-22-03. Staff requests Park Board approval of a donated conservation greenway easement and construction of the associated Cumberland River Greenway segment from PR2SH Peabody Union Apartments owner LLC. The easement will be located on parcel ID 093-1102-5600 at 30 Peabody Street. The Acquisition Committee met this morning. Commissioner Haynes, is there a report?
The Acquisition Committee recommends approval.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion from this body? I will accept a motion.
Move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. We'll move now to the consent agenda. Director Odom, I understand there is an amendment.
Yes, ma'am, there's an amendment. The first item under amplification, alcohol, and fundraising, the community block party Fisk Park, Saturday, June 25th, 2022, should be moved to the area for amplification and fundraising only to eliminate the alcohol request.
Okay, hearing that amendment, are there any questions? I'll accept the motion. Yes.
Are we including the first item in the consent agenda with the entire consent agenda? Okay.
Yes. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion.
I move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. We'll move now to new business 05-22-03. Board to vote on the appeal of the denial of a permit to operate Camp Twigs at Warner Parks during the summer of 2022 by Ms. Laura Johnson, representing Leadership Academy. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Yes, ma'am, staff recommends that the denial of permit stand.
The denial of the permit to stand. Okay, is there any discussion from the board? Any questions?
I have one quick question. Where is Warner Parks in the process of setting up their own nature camp?
They started a naturalist camp this last summer, and they're growing it again this summer, so they're in the process of doing it. And one correction, it's not a denial of permit. There was never a permit issued.
Okay, thank you.
Based on last summer, how many kids did enroll in the Warner camps? And how many?
As many as we could. But it's not so much about that. It's just Warner in general is a very, very filled park, as you know.
Thank you.
Good question.
I think we're not renewing it.
Board to vote on the appeal of the denial of a permit, so that wording is incorrect, it sounds like.
There's been no permit issued, so it's
It was-
it's an appeal of it, there was an application for permit, and we
And it was
didn't
denied.
award it.
Right.
So this is a moot item?
Well, no, you still have to vote, because she appealed it to this body.
She appealed the application.
She appealed the denial, the staff level denial to this body.
Okay.
You all.
Denial of a permit.
I mean, I think the language is okay. It's not like we're saying
Okay.
we're revoking. We just denied to issue. We denied to issue.
Is there any other discussion? I will accept the motion.
I'm sorry, I just
Yes.
sorry, it looked like Jeff wanted to follow up. You had your mouth like, poised and ready, but I guess I just wanted to recognize that we did get sort of a huge volume of emails from the public that were, I think, appealing to us to allow the camp to continue or to be permitted in this park. And I think that those recognize the huge need for opportunities for kids to go to camp. And I, as a parent, did take advantage a couple of years ago of this particular camp, and I was grateful at the time to have that too. And I think that that was what a lot of the messages that came to us came from the parents' perspective. So I hope that if this the Leadership Academy doesn't get permitted in Warner Parks, that it does find another location, because the need in Nashville seems to be great. And I would echo that myself personally.
They are running a mountain bike camp in Warner, and there also are Camp Twigs is at Bells Bend and Beeman, and also the Hamilton Creek Sail Camp. So they're running 3 camps in parks this summer, just not at Warner.
And staff has always been open to working with Leadership Academy to find other locations that they may have proposed, to explore possibilities there, not just in Warner. So absolutely.
I'm recognizing that and hoping that that does happen.
Are there any additional questions? All righty, I'll accept the motion. I'm sorry. I will accept the motion. I turned off my mic. Or any other discussion?
I think I'm just saying move approval of this item.
Yes,
Move approval of this
of this item, absolutely. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. We'll move now to 05-22-04. Staff requests approval of facility use permit for the Nashville Amateur Radio Operators of the Smith House, 205 Downey Mead Drive, Nashville, Tennessee, 37214. The facility will be used as a meeting place for the organization. The permit is for a period of 1 year, contingent upon all permit obligations being met. Copies of the permit will be available for review at the board meeting, and we have those. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion?
I had a question. This is just an unusual property for the parks to own, and I was hoping that you could just speak to the history of our ownership of it and the history of the use of it.
We acquired, it is not unusual for there to be buildings on properties that the department acquires. And if those buildings are in such condition that we can, with a little bit of elbow grease and duct tape, TLC, get them into condition for either a residence or to utilize, we do that, and like to offer those to organizations that meet sometimes in parks. this organization in particular, Jim, where were they meeting before? I think the building that, Lot 2, and the meeting place that they were meeting in before is on Parks property. It is in disrepair. So our staff, Jim in particular, worked with them to find another place for them to meet. And these facility use permits, it is unusual to have these come mid-year, but these are the permits that you will see on the Parks Board agenda each December, the very long list of organizations for annual permits. And that is what this is. Jim has, again, worked with this organization, and we are, number one, is to the benefit to have the building occupied for us, and they have a permanent place to meet, so long as, they meet the stipulations of the permit.
So no money changes hands. This is just a use agreement.
It's a use agreement.
And what is the future of the property in terms of Parks perspective?
So we acquired this parcel that has the house in addition to another, I think I'm off the top of my head, 60-plus acres that was the Smith Farm. It's on Stones River Greenway. So it'll be a future park in Greenway. So that's the plan.
Any other questions or discussion?
Move approval?
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. The motion passes. Moving now to 0522-05, staff requests approval of a facility use permit for Creve Hall Youth Athletics of 3 small ball fields in Whitfield Park. The permit is for a period of 1 year contingent upon all permit obligations being met. Copies of the permit are available for review at the board meeting. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Is there any discussion? I'll accept a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Moving to 05-22-06, the Friends of Woodmont Park requests approval to enlarge and improve the basketball court at Woodmont Park and to accept the improvements valued at approximately $45,000 as a donation to Metro Parks. There is no match required or other obligations by Parks. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Is there any discussion?
I'll just add that this is my neighborhood park where I've lived for 20 years, and it gets a lot of use, so I'm looking forward to receiving their proposal. And
Absolutely. Is there a motion?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes. Moving to 05-22-07, staff requests approval to renew application and ultimately accept a grant award for fiscal year 23 for the Child and Adult Care Food Program. This program provides nutritious meals and snacks for children attending the after-school programs currently in 8 community centers. The new grant award would add 2 additional sites. The grant period is October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023. There is no required match by Parks associated with this grant. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Are there any discussion?
I'm just curious about what the 2 new sites are.
Sites are Hadley and Coleman Community Center.
Good. Any additional questions?
I move to approve.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. The motion passes. 05-22-08, staff requests acceptance of a $2,000. Is that 2,000? Okay. Y'all be trying to trip me up. Staff requests acceptance of a $2,000 donation from Friends of Shelby Park to Metro Parks and Recreation. There is no required match or other obligation by Parks associated with this donation. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Is there any discussion?
what is the use of the funds?
This is for summer field trips and summer supplies for Shelby Community Center.
Any additional? Go ahead.
I was just going to move to approve.
Is there a second? All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. 05-22-09, staff requests approval of a letter of understanding between Metro Parks and the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department, allowing temporary use and occupancy of portions of the Percy Warner Park Equestrian Center campus for use by the Metro Mounted Patrol Unit. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Is there any discussion?
I'm going to wear out this microphone.
Go ahead.
Could you speak to the difference between the Metro Mounted Police and the Parks Mounted Police and the relationship that they have and how much sharing they might do?
Well, Metro Parks Police, as you may know, is led by a police captain from the Metro Nashville Police Department. So our coordination with MMPD is really seamless. They're two separate units, though. The Warner Park barn is ours. The MMPD is looking for temporary space while they work again with us to try to find a permanent space or build permanent space for their new police barn. So we coordinate with them. They have worked with our staff to the details of the agreement. Tim Nates can speak to that, or Sergeant Hooper can as well. I see you here. But we coordinate with them well, and this is a temporary agreement. But they are two separate units, if that answers your question.
I'll accept a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. The motion passes. 05-22-10, Harpeth Valley Utilities District requests a dedicated temporary construction easement and a permanent utility easement for installation of 2 new sewer pipelines that will parallel existing sewer infrastructure across the Bells Bend property owned by Metro, 4107 Old Hickory Boulevard, parcel number 101 0000100. The utility contractor will assess the construction area entirely from HVUD's adjacent property to install the sewer lines, and no access on Metro property from outside of the requested easements will be necessary. We're going to defer this to Acquisition Committee. 05-22-11, license agreement with Lamar Advertising at Wharf Park. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question.
Did you say Wharf or Warner? You said Wharf.
Wharf Park.
Wharf, okay.
Did I say it wrong? Okay. There discussion?
Yeah, just a quick question. So I assume that's a billboard of some sort? And what's the term? Sometimes these things go on and on and on.
Yeah, I'll defer to Ms. Amos with legal, but it is a temporary agreement. As you know, the location that we are currently calling Wharf Park was acquired, and that billboard was pre-existing on that property. And so this is an agreement, a temporary agreement. I think is it 18 months? 18-month period that we have worked out with them, and they're.
I think you covered it, but Metro acquired this property several years ago. There was a billboard on the property. We have not been paid anything for that billboard that's been on the property for, 5 or 6 years. We have worked out an agreement with Lamar that they will be allowed to keep their billboard on the property for 18 months while we finish out the master planning for Wharf Park. They will remove it at their cost and expense, and they will also pay us all of the back pay that they owe us, and then approximately $900 per month for the 18 months.
Were there any other questions or discussion? I'll accept a motion.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much. The motion passes. 05-22-12, election of park board officers as per section 1000.4 of the Metro Parks Policy Manual. Nominations are as follows. Chairwoman, Ms. Terry Hughes. Vice Chairwoman, Dr. Michelle Steele. Secretary, Ms. Monique Odom. Is there any discussion? I'll accept a motion. I was about to say, you're gonna have a question after the. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes. Congratulations, Chairwoman. Thank you. We'll move now to special presentations. Friends of Warner Parks to present annual update to the board. You have 7 minutes. Hello.
Hi. Thank you for having me here today. We're really celebrating about a 35-year partnership between Friends of Warner Parks and Metro Parks. So we've done a lot of work over the last 35 years. I'm going to give you a history of the park and some of our priorities and our programs as well. Before I get started, I'd like to introduce Bo Tyler, who's our incoming chair of Friends of Warner Parks, our vice chair actually, and Jane Avenger, who's on our staff, and Kristen Taylor, who's also on our board. We have a board of 40 individuals who oversee what we do at Warner Parks. So thank you all for being here today. I want to start first with our projected impact on the park for this fiscal year, which will end the end of June. And at the end of this June, we will have invested $2.8 million into the park in park improvements and in programming, mostly through the Nature Center, almost $400,000 in park programming. So a total of $3.2 million for the end of this fiscal year. The majority of those funds came from our capital campaign, which we are, our goal, we kicked off 3 years ago. We've raised $7.5 million toward this $15 million our goal. So we will continue over the next, hopefully 3 to 5 years to finish that campaign and the priorities that we set out with the Metro Parks team to complete. All of our investments are made with our partnership with Metro Parks, and over our history, we've invested over $40 million into Metro Parks, or Warner Parks, and through our core initiatives in natural resource management, land acquisition, trail maintenance and preservation, wildlife research and education, historic site restoration, and community engagement and recreation. Historic site restoration and community engagement and recreation. So those are the areas where we focus when we are making decisions to invest with you all in the park. Some of the park improvements, in partnership with Rick and the maintenance team, we finished a reconstruction, restoration of the Warner Parks Nature Center, which was struck by lightning 5 years ago, and we were happy to complete that project last September. At the end of this year, we acquired additional 8 acres of land in Metro along Highway 100, bringing the total acreage at Warner Parks to 3,195. And there are about 2 other parcels along that area that we hope to acquire in the next few years, and we're working with Cindy to make that happen as well. As I think you know, we finished the completion of the restoration of both the gates and the allée, and Tim played a big part in making that happen, so thank you there. We're also working on a plaza behind the gates to really finish out that part of restoration in that part of the park. And this past year, in partnership with the Nature Conservancy, we inventoried our entire tree canopy of all 3,195 acres. And we hope to take this information and really working with Jim and the team and Denise and Cammie to come up with a land management resource plan for the entire park with this, the beginning. We learned a lot about the trees in Warner Parks and where we need to plant more trees and where we can make some improvements in the actual land of the park. Our 2022 projects include, we've been able to eradicate over 700 acres of invasive species. Our goal is to be invasive-free WP by 2027, and we are confident we're going to get there. We work in partnership with Invasive Plant Control on that project. Some pictures, hope you can see these. When you remove the invasive plants in the park 20 years ago, we didn't have many invasive plants, and here are a few slides of the before and after. This is at the allée, which was the first area that we did, a significant difference. And another shot here, so you can see, for those of you who hike in the park, a number of those areas. We also established the Marianne and Charles Leach Tree Trust about a year ago, and our goal is to plant 10,000 trees by 2027. I can tell you we're well on our way. We planted over 4,000 trees this year in this planting season in Warner Park. So it was a great year for planting trees. We are also working very closely with the Metro Parks team and in partnership with Cumberland River Compact and Metro Water Services on the restoration of the Little Harpeth River riparian ecosystem. We're removing 2 shelters that sit on the riparian buffer. This has been on the priority list of Warner Parks and Metro Parks for over 20 years, and we're actually going to make it happen this year. So we'll remove shelters 10 and 11, move shelter 10, and enlarge shelter 9 in the park, and do a lot of stormwater management while we do that. It's been great partnering with Metro Water Services and the Cumberland River Compact on this project. They will come back and restore the riparian buffers once all the improvements are made. Another exciting project, we are going to restore the Percy Warner Golf Course and surrounding landscape. Percy Warner Golf Course was built in 1937 and was last restored in 1937. And so we are very excited about this project, and working with John and Wayne and Phil and the team with Metro Golf has just been a really fun project. We will really start kicking this off, the actual restoration in September, I think, and we'll really start the work in January and finish in September of 23. So this is a project that sort of surfaced about 5 years ago and didn't happen, so we're happy that it's resurfacing. We're also doing a lot of tree work on the course and around the surrounding landscape. One of the things we're most proud of at Warner Parks is our programming and our community programs, and we initiated with the Warner Park Nature Center a year-round urban nature program, and we have on staff, works at the Nature Center but was paid for by friends, a full part-time naturalist that goes to the community centers, 8 park community centers, and they do it all year round. And she really focuses on hands-on environmental programs, education, science, nature play, and this has been an expanding program. We hope to continue to expand it to other nature centers and other areas in Nashville. The nature program last year, really, we ran over 83 events, had over 1,000 students impacted, and worked again at 8 different Metro Park community centers, which we would like to continue to expand this program. But it's just a terrific program that we've been really proud of, and love working with Vera and the folks at the Nature Center to make this happen. The Pen Pal program has been going on in Nashville through Warner Parks for 34 years, and this program really serves youth 9 through 12, and they actually come to the park and for hiking and creek exploration and all sorts of outdoor discovery and arts and crafts, and it's a wonderful program. And again, our longest lasting Friends of Warner Parks has been in existence for 35 years. The program's 34 years old, so this was our first program, and it also continues to expand. We expanded it this year, other than the summer, into September and October, and brought the kids out for some s'mores and astronomy and all sorts of fun activities at night in the park. Our bird research program really stands alone. It has been going on since 1982. Sandy Bivens, who needs no introduction in this crowd, really started the program, and it is used by numerous school groups, universities, to really understand research. We started a MODIS program. Right now, bird banding is happening at Warner Parks, and if you haven't seen a bird banding event at Warner Parks, I really encourage you to come see it. You can actually hold a little bird in your hand, it'll fly out, but it's a tremendous program that Friends of Warner Parks supports 100%, and again, run through the Nature Center. We are really proud this year to partner with some new community partners. Tennessee State University has an internship program at the Nature Center now, and Jim and Vera have made that happen. Project Return is a group we really bring in to do some major projects in the park in terms of clearing and helping us really restore a lot of places in the park that we haven't been able to get to. And the Cumberland River Compact has been a partner that's will be ongoing for years and years. We did a project with North Carolina State at on the Hill Forest property this year that was very successful. You have in front of you a Warner Parks history book. There's a great history of Warner Parks, not just when the park started in 1927. And we'll be 100 years old in 2027. So we're excited about that. So I hope you'll enjoy that book, and I hope you'll join us for a full moon pick and party starting May 20th and 21st. That's it.
That's a lot. Any questions for Warner Parks? All righty.
And I'm happy to email you a copy of this presentation. But in the spirit of conservation, we didn't print one for everybody.
I appreciate it.
I do have a question. Well, I have a lot of questions, but great work. Thank you
you.
for all you're doing. It's wonderful to have a partnership like this.
Well, and I stand here on behalf of a lot of volunteers and a
Yes,
lot
I
of
know
people
you
who
do.
work, so.
I know you do. I know you do. I'm a little, just 2 sentences more about how Project Return is involved. I'm curious.
Sure. So Project Return is another nonprofit in Nashville. I'm sure you're familiar with them. And basically, to get projects done in the park, we need manpower and woman power. And they have an enterprise called Props, where they do a lot of landscaping in Nashville. And so we hire them to come out. They helped us with invasive plant removal. They helped us plant probably 1,000 trees in March. We said, oh my gosh, we have all these trees to get in the ground. Who can we call? And we called Project Return.
That's what I was hoping you were going to say. That's perfect.
Yeah, they're great.
Any other questions?
On the tree planting, are those counting towards Root Nashville's tree planting goals?
That's a good
That's a good
question.
question.
I don't know the answer to that question, but I will, we need to,
Maybe share that information with them.
we have a full-time person on staff we've hired to really be our tree guy. We call him the tree guy. So he's doing it full-time, but we'll connect them for sure.
All righty, well, last week, Director Odom had the opportunity to be interviewed and participate in Warner Park's inaugural spring luncheon. Congratulations on a beautiful event. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Actually, look, that's the first thing on my paper here, and I didn't even say it. So thank you, Michelle.
No problem. It was so much fun.
It was. I mean, again, Monique, thank you. Monique was our honorary chair for our inaugural luncheon, and she did a great job representing Metro Parks and talking all about the park system. And it was a beautiful day. And hopefully it'll be the first of many. So thank you, Monique, for agreeing to do that.
Thank you for.
And I
for the
apologize for
invitation.
skipping right over that.
Don't worry about it. No. Thank you.
And thank you,
I made
Dr.
a
Steele,
note.
for coming.
No problem.
Thank you.
Moving now to Friends of Hadley Tennis to present their annual update to the board. You have 7 minutes.
Good afternoon. I am Fannie Holmes, and I am the president of the board of Friends of Tennis at Hadley Park. I don't have, my remarks are kind of short, but I would like to thank the Director Odom and the park board for a continued relationship. We've had a great time, great working relationship together. But I do have someone here with me today that will give you a good breakdown. One of the hardest working men in show business, I mean tennis, Mr. Joe Goldthry, who is the executive director of the Friends of Hadley Park. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just so proud to be here. 4 years ago, I was coming out of retirement and starting the program back up. And it was a great thing. I received a lot of awards. If you notice, I was inducted into the Black Tennis Hall of Fame in Boston. If you know, I will be the first master tennis pro, along with Dennis Vandermeer and all the top tennis pros. But I come from Park and Recreation. I'll be the first master pro in the nation for PTR worldwide for Park and Recreation. I would like to show a video of a great event that pushed us over the top. And this event was the 50 years of Arthur Ashe that was given here in Nashville. And could you show that? Okay.
play basketball together or shoot some soccer goals. Give me your neighbors, your family. You gotta look out for the other ones. Okay? That just means you go to the bathroom, so leave the toilet seat up so I can fall in and take a swim, Michael. Because you don't want to do that, because you're not a team player. You gotta be a team player. Be a cooperative, learn.
Thank you, and thanks to Park and Recreation for doing an outstanding job. Thanks to the USTA Southern Section. We had a total of 14 teams that came out here from all over the South, NJTL. Our host hotel was the Marriott. All our vendors gave food to the kids for free. We ate at the real nice restaurants. But the bottom line is that we got to understand one thing about Miss Monique and also Stevan. They worked hard to make sure this was a great success for the Davidson County and Metropolitan government. It was shown at the U.S. Open, and we was all proud of it. And we're looking forward to working with you on a continuous basis. But let us understand one thing. I developed a tennis facility at my house, and it creates pros. We teach them, and they go on the pro circuit, and we're doing an outstanding job. A lot of parks want to know across this country. They come, they don't understand how Friends of works with park boards. So I don't know what to tell them. So I'm gonna get with Malik, and we'll find out if the park board wanted to sort of correspond with their park boards. Big cities don't understand how we can work. That we have our former students that graduate from Vanderbilt, Davis, Livingston, Alabama, that makes on a weekly basis to make us self-supporting through our foundation, that they had played here and got successful and want the other kids in the lower-income city to be like them. If you approve us, we'll be back again. As soon as Mr. Stevens said how many kids we can bring back, we had 6,000. The lowest we had was 14. But we're looking for a great year this year. Thank you. Any questions?
That's 6,000 in 1 year?
Yes, we did it all for Metro. We had 28 teaching pros.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goldthreet. We're moving now to capital projects update with Tim Natch. Tim Natch and the HDLA to present a draft concept from the Fort Negley master planning process.
Thank you. I'll give you some quick updates on projects and then go to Fort Negley. At Clinton Fisk Park, at long last, the Paving contractor is out, mobilized on the site, working, and the playground equipment delivery should be happening any day now. At Fort Negley, stonework repair, this is the two $1 million allocations of funds for stonework repair on that site. The construction contractor has mobilized and is going to launch actual work next week. Sevier Park, the Sunnyside Mansion restoration, we have a meeting tomorrow to negotiate a construction contract on that. And then for Trinity Hills Habitat, we had a public meeting last week in partnership with Councilmember Toombs and Habitat to present the concepts for the Habitat's portion of the project, which is the 6-acre portion of the site. We'll follow up in a few months with the community on the 53-acre component, which we're contracting for separately. And then on to the Fort Negley Master Plan. As you all know, we've been working for many months now on the Fort Negley Master Plan, and so we want to show you where we're at on it. Over the course of the last several months, we have been meeting with many constituents, stakeholders, community groups. We came to this board in December with a presentation that had been preceded by a first round of public meetings. A couple of weeks ago, we had a second round of public meetings, and that's the information that we'll be sharing with you today. We have a stellar consulting team led by HDLA Landscape Architects, and what this plan will present and what we're proposing is really to create an outdoor museum of national significance that uses the cultural landscape to reveal stories from the Civil War era to the Civil Rights era. The planning team includes historians, cultural landscape experts, archaeologists, and other professionals, and Richie Jones is here to present where we're at. Once this round is complete, and today's presentation pretty much wraps up this round, we're wrapping it up. So over the course of the next month or so, we will be actually refining the plan based on the input from this round, producing the actual master plan document. It will include phasing recommendations and cost estimates, and then any implementation is unfunded currently. So the next funding we would seek would be for a phase 1. The next opportunity for Metro funding will be the next capital spending plan. And from what we hear, that is likely to happen this fall. So that's a little bit of what's to come, but I'll turn it over to you, Richie. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. It is an honor to be here before you today and to be a part of this project. Fort Negley is a place that every day we get a chance to work on this is a day that we realize how sacred and special this site is. And so look forward to presenting to you where we're at currently in the project. As Tim mentioned, we are sort of right at the middle, sort of toward the end of the middle of the project, if you will. We had our first round of public meetings in November and December. We came to you in December to give you an update on where we were and the feedback we got. We took that feedback extremely seriously. We sort of aggregated it and refined our concept based on the feedback that we got from the community and our stakeholder groups. We've met, I think, over 40 times with our stakeholders. Everyone from the state archaeologist to Adventure Science Center to the African American Cultural Alliance, Metro Planning, so on and so forth. We have a full list of everyone we met with. And that is really coming to a culmination today with the presentation that we have before you. As Tim mentioned, we do have a very large, excellent team that I represent, historical, cultural landscape architects, historian Dr. Lee Williams, planners, and so on and so forth. So we are currently right here in the process. We have just wrapped up our fourth public meeting, and then over the summer we'll be refining our concept based on the feedback we have been given and presenting a final document to you. This is a summary of our current feedback. By the way, these are the boards that we presented at our meeting on the 23rd and 25th. So this is actually, a lot of this information is what the public saw as well. But so far, we've had over 140 participants, over 1,000 comments. If this was prior to this information was prior to the meetings we had last week. So these numbers will be increased a little bit. We've met with over 20 stakeholder groups. And this is just some examples of, we've built a model. We have had lots of different boards, many, many different ways for people to provide feedback. And so last time we met, we talked about guiding principles. This has really been the foundation of our work. We presented those guiding principles to you at our last meeting, and we also presented them to the public and had the public sort of vote on which of these principles resonated most with them. And then as we went forward in the process, we've continued to refine these guiding principles. These are incredibly important to the work we're doing. With a place like Fort Negley that has so much history and means so much to so many people, we have to make sure the work we're doing is really on a solid foundation. And so our guiding principles for this project are preserve and maintain, reveal and honor, create, connect, and engage. Preserve and maintain is simply saying that as one of the nation's most significant historic and cultural sites, we have to preserve and celebrate what makes this site uniquely Nashville, while also amplifying the characteristics that draw people to it today. Reveal and honor is saying that many of the site stories have been erased or untold, and we envision a future where those stories are unearthed and revealed, where people can come and learn about a collective past and feel a greater connection to their community. And then create, connect, and engage. We are situated in the center of a rapidly growing city. This Fort Negley's location near the center of the city, as well as other cultural sites, means that we have to connect this site both internally and to the other sites around it and to the urban fabric. And so one of the things that we've done since our last meeting is we had these guiding principles. And so we viewed the park as it currently stands through the lens of those guiding principles to understand where our strategic solutions needed to be focused. So if you look at preserve and maintain, the existing conditions, in many ways the site has been neglected over the years. It is certainly vulnerable and it is under-maintained. And so from a strategic solution standpoint, our recommendation is, in one word, reinvestment. And what that looks like from a program standpoint is preservation, stabilization, and strategic maintenance of the fort structure and other remaining WP era site work, creation of a sustainable regenerative landscape, new expanded robust programming and partnerships that tell the full and accurate history of the Fort Negley site, the development of a long-term maintenance strategy with funding mechanisms, and the development of long-term stakeholder framework. If you look at reveal and honor the existing conditions on the site, in many ways it is erased. In the case of the Bass Street community, that community was displaced and their story is not really being told anywhere. And it's also very much incomplete. We're learning new things about the Fort Negley site and its history literally every day as research continues. And so in order to meet the guiding principle of reveal and honor, our recommended strategic solution is remembrance. And that looks like on the ground from a programming standpoint, we're saying the site should be viewed, as Tim said, as an outdoor historical and cultural museum of national significance through the creation of on-site interpretation of the full, accurate, and truthful story of Fort Negley, from its construction all the way up through urban renewal and to present day. Creation of places of remembrance and reflection for the lives of the refugees, laborers, and soldiers. Expanded visitor center to more fully tell the story of the site. That would include expanded programming. And then the creation of a framework that allows archaeology to be incorporated into the site, and not something that's sort of hidden behind fences, that we're inviting the public to understand that archaeology will continue to happen on the site throughout at least the next few decades. And then finally, create and engage our existing conditions there. We really have a site that's disconnected internally. It's very much three sites right now. You have sort of Adventure Science Center and the former site of the Bass Street community, the fort and the visitor center site, and then the former site of Greer Stadium. Those are not connected right now, and it's also not connected to the surrounding neighborhoods or the Greenway system. So we have a disconnected site. So our recommended strategic solution to meet this guiding principle is reconnection. This would look like an intentional, cohesive internal circulation system that stitches together the disparate pieces through a logical, interconnected system of learning trails, improved park edges and gateways, improved street edges, intersections, and access from the south and the north, an improved user experience through the creation of intentional arrival sequencing. We envision whenever you come to Fort Negley that the fort itself is really the center of what you see, that view shed is very intentionally framed. Citywide connectivity, we're working with Cindy and Greenways to look at the feasibility of how the Greenway will connect both to and through the park, both to the south and the north. That's ongoing work. The creation of age-appropriate play areas. We have a lot of youth that come to the fort, and we want to make sure that they have appropriate things to do while they're there. There's only so long you could be on a historical tour if you're a 5 or a 7-year-old. So we want to make sure to incorporate that. And then the development of a large lawn for historical programming, remembrance, and community gathering. And so those are our three main recommended strategic solutions. This is just looking at the park as it sits now in its context. You can see its relationship again to the city cemetery, Rose Park, Reservoir Park. This is it's a little bit hard to see here, but we have sort of gone through and looked at all the other public spaces, not just Metro Park spaces. Some of these are kind of semi-public private spaces that are in sort of the half-mile, quarter-mile or full-mile radius. A lot of the things like sports courts and more active play are being served in that half-mile radius through Dudley Park and Rose Park. We're looking, as I mentioned, at connectivity. We've met with NDOT. We're going to have a follow-up meeting with NDOT to understand what is possible along Chestnut, Oak, and Bass as it goes to 6, but looking at those on-street multimodal connections back to the neighborhoods. That was a good discussion. We're going to be following up with them in the next few weeks. And I mentioned we are continuing to meet with Cindy and Greenways about how this can connect both north and south to the greater Greenway system. Yes. I've got a couple more slides and then we'll go through. We'll skip over the history. Interpretive theming is incredibly important here. We have taken a deep dive into the history of this park. That's really been the basis of our work. And then I'll get to the pretty pictures as far as what we're proposing. So from a reinvestment standpoint, we are looking at completely re-envisioning what happens on the internal part of the fort with new outdoor classrooms, new raised walkways, a combination of stabilization, restoration of the fort stonework, an expanded visitor center here, looking at relocating the main entry to the south from Fort Negley Boulevard onto Chestnut, which allows us to capture more parking. It's also more centrally located. We mentioned those view sheds, creating a new northern gateway where the Bass Street community would have been here that would really tell that story of both the soldier encampments as well as the Bass Street community itself, and the creation of another interpretive node here. And you can see the large remembrance lawn at this corner where the former site of Greer Stadium. This is what it looks like three-dimensionally. So you can see the expanded visitor center, sort of a nod to the history of the WPA grandstands, a large interpretive plaza here at the corner that would frame that view and really be a place to tell a holistic story, the remembrance lawn, some shade structures, and then a series of learning trails that would sort of come all the way from the top of the fort or the top of the hill all the way down that would connect the site together both north and south, east and west. Remembrance, again, we have a series of interpretive plazas or nodes. We are looking at a grassland solution for the regenerative, sustainable landscape. We have Dr. Dwayne Estes on our team who is developing a seed mix that would be appropriate and will be as low maintenance as possible. This is a three-dimensional view of the north, or looking to the south, so it's taken from the north. This is looking at an interpretation or interpretive memorial for the Bass Street community here. This is just a placeholder right now, but the idea that you may begin to recreate the foundation of the homes that were there and tell that story in a way that really it's deserving of. And then a plaza here that really would tell the story of all the things that were happening behind the fort. And so taken together, this is a vision that creates, again, the idea of an outdoor cultural landscape and museum of national significance. So lots of partnership opportunities, but making this a holistic site that really tells a comprehensive story while also offering recreational opportunities in an appropriate way to the surrounding community. So it is a lot to get through in 15 minutes. This is a deep site. There's multi layers of history, so apologies for going a little long, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the board? Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I'd like
Yes.
to add, Madam Chair,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you, but I'd just like to remind you that you all did receive an electronic copy of this document, so feel free to peruse it and then direct any questions that you have.
Okay. We're moving to Greenways and Open Space update with Cindy Harrison.
Thank you. So you all have a very comprehensive list of projects. I'll just highlight a few. Some of our Metro-funded Greenway projects that are underway right now, the Charlotte Corridor Railway Trail Project, which is a 4-mile trail-adjacent greenway in North Nashville. We are beginning the master plan process for that. We've started speaking with stakeholders, and we will be having our first 2 community meetings in May, and you all get announcements about that. We're still finalizing the details on that, but we encourage you to come by or to ask questions about that. Happy to talk with you. 2 segments of the 440 Greenway are in design. One would connect Park Plaza right outside our door here down to Centennial Park. And the second will connect Sevier Park to Gale Lane Park over to Browns Creek Park, where we already have a greenway that was built on flood buyout property that we acquired from Metro Water Services. That project will be approximately a mile. This right outside our doors is much shorter, but a really important connection because it gets us over to the 28th Avenue connector and then over to the future Railway Trail project. The Opry Mills connector we're finishing up the last easement on that will connect us to the front door of the Opry Mills Mall, and we anticipate starting construction on that in the fall. I want to highlight a couple of privately funded Greenway projects because those partnerships have become really important for us. The first one is the Hickory Hill connector at Ravenwood Park. This was created by the developer of the adjacent business properties. It's a half-mile trail and it's open now. And that connects an entire new neighborhood to the Stones River Greenway. The Gulch Greenway and Trailhead at Asurian downtown, that was constructed by Highwoods Properties. They're finishing up the last bit of that underneath the Church Street Bridge and rehabbing the trailhead there. It took a little bit of wear during the construction process, so it's going to be a whole new look. And again, that one was completely designed, funded, built, and will be maintained in perpetuity by the developer. So really great partnership. Our own Greenways for Nashville is beginning upgrades of trailheads across the system, and those right now include Stones River and Whites Creek Greenway, and we're looking at all the graphics for the trailhead signs and working through that right now. And then one that you heard earlier for easement acquisition at Peabody Union at adjacent to the trolley barns downtown and KVB. That's a new development happening that will rebuild the Greenway. That Greenway will be put into a Greenway easement. There'll be an additional access for us for Greenway use. And that construction will start, I think fences go up next week. So that greenway will be temporarily closed during construction and again, constructed and designed, constructed, and maintained in perpetuity by the developer. Then I'll touch on a couple of open space projects that we also do. So 88 Hermitage is the addition to the Wharf Park project, and that's going through Metro Council this week. And Tusculum Road, new park property in Councilmember Sepulveda's district. We close on that 10 acres this coming Monday. So happy to take questions.
Seeing none?
No, I don't. I'm really bored.
Not at all. Not at all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Upcoming special activities and events, Jackie Jones.
Good evening, everybody. That was supposed to be a joke. So as you can see, we have a variety of events going on for the month of May. However, one event that is not on your calendar is on May 21st. Is the official opening of the picnic shelter at Hadley Park. If you have not seen this shelter, I really encourage you to take the time and go out and see it. It's a very, the pattern of it is very Afrocentric. It's a nod to the past, if you will, and hopefully to the future as well. It's located on the corner of 28th and Albine, and it is an asset not only to the park, but to the community as well. Now, at 1 p.m. on that very same day, at the Hadley Park Band Shell, we will have what is called a Mayfest. The Mayfest is a concert, primarily jazz, and it will go on from 1 to 5 p.m. We have 3 bands, 3 local bands, that is. That's Brassfield, the Imperial Blues Band, and Cafe Koala, a local Latin band. I'm sure I did not say that name correctly, but I think you get the hint. From 9 to noon on that very same day, we will have the Hadley Park Community Center will host National Kids to Parks Day. And Kids to Parks Day is a national day of outdoor play that is celebrated annually on the 3rd Saturday in May throughout the country. So I just wanted to make sure that you all knew about this event. You'll be hearing more about the May 21st Mayfest and the opening of the picnic shelter, and we really hope you will take the time to attend that event on Saturday. On your list, I'm going to run through this really quickly. On May 5th, we have Stand Against Racism rally at Public Square Park. On May 6th, we have the Spring Tennessee Craft Fair and Musicians Corner, both in Centennial Park. Severe Park Fest is on May 7th at Severe Park. Jazz on the Cumberland returns on May 8th, and of course, this is Cumberland Park. We have the Iroquois Steeplechase at the Warner Parks on May 14th. On May 20th and 21st, we have the Full Moon Picking Party at Percy Warner Park. We also have the Cornelia Fort Picking Party at Cornelia Fort at Shelby Bottoms. Also on the 21st is Shop Black City Tour. That is in East Nashville. On the 22nd, we have the Mutt Strut at Shelby Park. The BMX Nationals is scheduled at Hamilton Creek Park on May 26th. And on May 27th, we have the Water Lantern Festival, and that is at Lake Watauga in Centennial Park.
All right, thank you so much. Are there any questions? Lots going on. Report of the Director, Director Odom.
Thank you so much. I'll be brief in my report and remarks. I want to start by giving an official welcome, I guess is what you call it, to Miss Larisha Travis, who has been with our team, joined our team a couple of weeks ago as my assistant, and she is already proving to be an asset to our team. So welcome, Larisha. And I know you've met our Parks Board members. If you haven't had an opportunity to formally introduce yourself to Larisha, please do. The petitions for both the the request to rename Hadley Park and the Confederate Private Monument relocation have been filed. Thank you, Macy, for all of your work, and Parks team who supported her in that. Our budget hearing before Metro Council will be May 19th at 4 p.m. All of you, Park Board members who are able to join us, please, I hope that you will. 4 p.m., May 19th. I'll send you an email. Yes, you should go to that. I'll send you an email. I also share with you all proposed budget items. And then finally, please be on the lookout for an email from Larisha or myself, kind of firming up a date for our Park Board site visit tour. I think I initially said we were looking at June. It'll probably be during the month of July when we do that. We'll coordinate. And I will just mention, I'll remind you that this will not be the only site visit. This is a series. We can't possibly get through the entire park system, and so we may have some do-overs that we need to do to make up for anybody who's unable to attend. So those are my comments. Does anybody have questions? Thank you.
We'll move now to announcements, requests for future agenda items or open items. All righty. Well, go ahead, Terry.
I'm just wondering if we need to get into the record the request, Jeff, that you made in acquisitions regarding looking into easements. Do we want to get that into
Macy,
the
does it
minutes?
need?
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other items? I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.